Yeah, I have a weird relationship with the concept of detachment as a spiritual um, recommendation, as a spiritual path, because it's like for me, I think there's obviously attachment is the root of suffering. You know, things are impermanent, and when you rely on certain sensations or certain beings or certain things, God forbid, in your life to be there, and they're not, that causes suffering. But if you genuinely become okay with the transience of all things, theoretically, you're no longer suffering. But every single profound experience I've ever had that I value, makes me appreciate, the creation of the universe and my own existence comes from a place of attachment and love. And if I didn't have that kind, maybe attachment, maybe it is, maybe I'm thinking about it wrong. Maybe that isn't attachment. Maybe deep love is different than attachment. But I feel like to love something so much that it can potentially destroy you if it goes away, that's really scary, and it could be the cause of a lot of potential suffering, but that's also a place where you're going to experience the most profound.
I think you get to a place where one you it's like you're talking about loving so much that you become scared. It's like no, you love so much because that's what you're supposed to do. And that's what makes you love so much you can lose it. That's part of what makes it one valuable, but you know that going in. You
Right.
love you try to get to a point where you love something so much and you're okay with losing it because you still have love
Right.
to give and to have and know that it is all one.
Well, yeah, it's the difference between like you can approach reality in a way of like, okay, well, if I attach myself to things, I'm going to suffer.
Well,
So is the
once
root.
once you let go of once you love and are okay with letting go and losing it, you're also able then to love more freely and more presently because you're loving something and not worried about what your love will be in the future. You're only concerned with what your love is and holds in the present moment. You're not
Okay,
like
yeah, that
you're
no,
not
I
like
get what
what
you're
if I
saying.
lose it? You're like, well, I have it,
Right, but
and
that's the
if I
thing, though.
have it now,
That is
then
okay.
it's great, and if I have it in the future,
I
then
guess,
that's
yes, I get it,
great.
I get it.
And if I
But
don't, well, I'm still explaining.
no,
You know,
okay, yeah,
but-
but like the thing that's so frustrating about that is that makes perfect sense. But every person I've ever, that's a big statement. But like the people that are thinkers in this community, in like a community of like spiritual leaders that talk about what you just said, you see them living such chaste and what I would think of as like boring lives, you know?
what?
Like,
Okay, explain more. Because I feel like I'm at that point. Like I'm not concerned. Like I understand that like everything in this world is subject to change. It is the nature of this universe. If you are to fight change and be afraid of change, like so many people in this world are afraid of change. You're afraid. They're so grounded in their stability. You see it especially in like elderly people and voting. People who are afraid of death, like people who are afraid of going
yeah.
to places trying. It's like all afraid of change, which is the way of the world. You understand that that is all out of your control, and you simply choose to love presently and have what you have in the moment, and know that if you have it in the future, that's great, and if you don't, you will have it still within you. Like I feel like I'm pretty close to there with like momentary like discoloration and distortion.
Right, right.
And when I
Well,
say
no, you
momentary, I mean
are
stretches
like,
of time. And
yeah.
my life is fucking great. It's full of adventure. You know?
No, no, yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying because you are a person who is living by those principles. I feel like the people that espouse those principles don't live in any way I disapprove of at all. Not that I would even have a fucking right to disapprove of them if I did. But it's
Understood.
just like, what is it then about the monastic life that is so, to me, it seems like, why the fuck would you waste your life, you know, dedicating yourself to such rigid sacraments when your philosophy is one about so centered on how finite everything is. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I don't understand how
Well, I would say
in
that
that sphere of thought there are like Buddhist monks that live entirely monastically
well, I'm
and
saying
and
that
and
you're okay and you accept it because you understand that love is infinite and you actually never lose it. You just lose its form that it's taking currently.
so there are some people then that are able to extract as much meaning and as much potential from this universe without having to embody it in those different forms. They just have it in themselves. And so they live a life that what would appear to me boring really is an internal life that's like incredibly rich and like all kinds of shit's
So
going
it's
on.
it's one and that would be perception changing. So your life is just that's just how
Right.
you perceive someone else's life, which doesn't matter to them, and it doesn't matter to you at all, actually, in the grand scheme of things.